I forgot how the show starts. Hey, everybody. Welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
Welcome to Summer Camp June as it continues here on the show. It's a wild weekend. We're sandwiched in between, well, not in between. This weekend that we're recording this, you started it with Friday the 13th. And you ended it with Father's Day.
I mean, what a what a swap, you know?
Yeah, we're in holiday season right now.
I know. And we're going to be talking about Friday the 13th later this week as our final Summer Camp June pick of the month. So stay tuned for that. Be sure you subscribe wherever you get podcasts or on YouTube. Go to SoManySequels.com and you can find all that good stuff there.
You know what's great about our podcast specifically?
What's that?
We're not trying to sell you anything.
Nope,
you know?
no ads.
We are not taking ad breaks. This is just us talking. Now, having said that, if you are interested in advertising, we might be able to make that happen. So I'm just saying, right now the benefit is no ads, but the potential is there. I'm just saying.
Yes. Hey, we'll plug your podcast.
Should be cool if you did.
Yeah.
You guys got any favorite movie dads? I feel like people talk about TV dads a lot. Mm-hmm. You got Danny Tanner, TV dad. What's his name from Growing Pains? Mr. Seaver.
Yeah, Mr. Seaver.
Some other.
Alan
There's at least one that we don't name anymore. There's some TV dads out there, but are there any big movie dads? I'm struggling, and I was looking through some other lists, and I'm not sold on some of these suggestions.
I feel like it's difficult because you have to have a franchise or a sequel to really kind of get a dad to stand out. You know who really stands out as a dad that people really seem to like? The dad in Inside Out. Now, I don't exactly know if that's because
John Krasinski and it is just him. It's just him.
Yeah. But
cool
I feel like, the one that has just jumped into my brain, and he takes some winning over, right? But the dad from Beethoven.
Oh, fascinating.
Dad from Beethoven, he's a jerk, right? He doesn't want Beethoven, but eventually he comes to learn and love Beethoven, and he's been in 3 of them, so he was a good dad. You got Griswold. He's not a good dad.
No,
but is
from the vacation movies.
From the vacations, yeah, Clark Griswold. Yeah. So I feel like that is the King Dad movie, I feel like, because he's so iconic.
Oh, here's a good one. This is a good one. Marlin in Finding Nemo.
Oh,
that's a good dad.
What a dad. Yeah, man, he goes across the world.
Dad.
Yes.
Find his son. Oh,
that's a
good
dad
answer.
movie right there. That's a good one.
Goofy from a Goofy movie. He's a great film dad.
Oh, man.
If we're on the animated track.
Yes, I don't remember if it was this. I don't remember if we recorded it or if it was off mic, but man, it was funny. You're younger, you're so on Max's side, but then you switch. There's a time in your life where you switch and you're like 100% Goofy, and you're like, man, just go on the trip with your dad, bro.
Come on, yeah, just do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
I don't know personally that this one qualifies as one of the best movie dads, but he's certainly entertaining. Is Sean Connery in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, yeah.
He tends to get Indy in a lot of trouble, so good is a qualifier that is worth debating, but he's very fun.
I can't believe what you've done.
Exactly.
Scott Calvin and Santa Claus. The dad is Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love that?
Okay, so we've found some. We've heard of some.
I also just want to throw in The Father of the Bride. That's a popular movie series about a dad.
Sure. Yeah. I feel like, when I think of dad movies, though, I always think of high octane.
What does it make?
Action.
What makes it a dad movie?
I think it depends on the dad, obviously. My dad is, he likes racing movies, Days of Thunder. He likes that movie. He loves Jaws, that kind of a movie. He loves Ford v Ferrari, those kinds of things where it's action, fun, intense. But there's good stories in those, too, so...
A good movie dad is not necessarily in a good dad movie.
That's right. That's true.
This is true.
I feel like
usually they make dads look dumb in movies like that.
And I feel like a good dad movie may not even have a dad at all.
I feel like a dad movie, it has to be pretty straightforward narrative, right?
Can't
it has
be
to be
too complex,
it can't be overly complex. It has to feature someone
gotta be able to
overcoming.
rewatch it.
There has to be some kind of overcoming adversity. You know, if there is like a lawyer and I have to get this man off of death row or something like that, there's some kind of thing like that. Or I'm, you know, like this person has to like win the big race, or it's a sports movie that kind of helps. Like it's about a person or a group overcoming a thing. And, you know, my dad, one of his favorite movies, I kind of alluded to it there. The Lincoln Lawyer is a big one for him. He likes Happy Gilmore. Is one of his favorite movies. He likes Back to the Future, which is really interesting because he never watched it with me as a kid. But then randomly the other day, we had it on, and he goes, "Oh, this is one of the all-time greats." And I had never heard him use that phrase before. My dad's favorite movie is probably "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou." He loves that movie so much. And I don't know, it's simple. The characters are funny. I think comedy plays a lot with dads, too. So,
yeah,
Definitely.
I also think. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
No, you do it, because I was going to.
I was going to say that I think that one of the qualifiers for a dad movie is also there is got to be a heavily involved amount of sweat or perspiration. You know, I mean, look at these racing movies; they're always perspiring. Look at Top Gun; there's 2 scenes of sweatiness. That's it. I mean, that's the scene.
Playing volleyball on the beach, sweating, glistening.
And you know,
I love that.
It dads like rebels, all right.
Yeah.
Dads like
Without a
guys
cause.
who don't you know, like
We're with one.
the army says no, Maverick, you can't
No,
fly
Top
this plane
Gun.
anymore. No, Matthew McConaughey, you can't represent this man. Whatever it is, I don't know.
Don't tell me what I can't do.
They like
John
they like
Locke from Lost.
yeah, they like somebody who's bucking up against what they're being told to do, and that's a big thing with dads.
Now let me tell you what I think a dad movie should include, because this is important after going over what a dad movie is. Show some real friggin' emotion. Just not always anger and frustration.
yeah.
Show your full range.
Vulnerability.
Show your love. Show show your vulnerability. Show the realness, because there's not healthy ways for a lot of people that have seen to take them out other than by taking people out. And maybe that's not the best way to always show that. So
No, a good dad movie usually features the person, the rebel coming up against, like the odds are too high. I have to have a moment of reflection, have to have a moment of maybe like sadness. I have to go to my woman, maybe my mentor, something like that, and have a moment of tenderness, and then I found what I need, and then I can go over the top again. Now I can be the Top Gun.
anyway, let's what
Dad
have
movies,
we
solution
been
solved.
watching? That, I mean, happy Father's Day to my father, to your father, to everybody's father. Whether you know, however, father figures, we welcome
Everywhere.
them all. Yes.
Yes. I watched a movie this week that could maybe qualify as a dad movie, in that it is about a sharks eating people, which is, Jaws. We talked about Jaws.
I know, yeah. Jaws ate people.
So I saw Dangerous Animals this week, which is a new film from Shudder, the horror studio and indie stream. Well, I don't know if they're indie anymore, but the streaming service. Anyway, it's in theaters, and it is about so this guy runs a swim with the shark style boat business in Australia, and he takes on unsuspecting couples generally and takes them out on a private tour to swim in a cage with the sharks. And wouldn't you know, he feeds them to the sharks at some point. And this is how this is his MO as a serial killer. And we got a classic setup of this time he may have kidnapped the wrong couple, or did he? You have to watch to find out. But it was an interesting premise. It had some fun moments where I was like, I wouldn't have thought to do that with a shark. But then there are other parts where I thought, you could do a lot more with this idea than you're doing. So I do think I would recommend it maybe when it hits streaming and you're looking for something during Shark Week or close to Halloween, maybe. You're looking for
Oh
some
my God, it's got
spooky
so many opportunities.
Yeah, do people still
But
celebrate?
I can't sing its praises, unfortunately. Writing was kind of meh. There's some lines where I was like, "Nah, nobody would say that," kind of stuff. But I will also say, from what I've seen, I seem to be in the minority because it's got better reviews than I'd give it.
I've heard good people, or I've heard people say things about it. I haven't seen it myself, but I do feel like perhaps I would struggle with the relatability of it because somebody, I assume stranger, because again, I've asked you this question already, but like, how does his business continue? Does he advertise, or does he just approach people who are there and be like, hey, do you want to go on a boat with me, a stranger, and dive with sharks? And I'd go, no.
Well, see, that's the thing.
And
is
so
that
so
they
none of
find
this would
him.
work for me. Oh, they find him.
I'll tell you
Well,
what.
Yeah, they go to him.
then it's on them.
every time.
Then it's on him. Yeah.
If I ever did that, which I don't anticipate I ever will, it would not be a situation where I'm going out with the one guy. It's like there's got to be a team. There's got to
That's
be
it.
like a
He's the
whole
one guy.
crew.
No, that's a big no.
And then you
And
get
there's
stranded
no
with
other
flag.
guests, just you and your boo.
Yes, and like multiple other guests. So we're going to be witnessed. Something's going to happen here.
Yeah. No,
Nope.
the other guests are sharks in this case, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Yeah, it's if you watch it, how the business works will be the last question I think you ask. You might have other questions first. We'll see.
That's fair. I bet they
yeah.
don't. I mean, that's not usually the the logistics of a business are not the aspect of a horror movie most of the time.
Right. Looking at your list here, Garrett, you watched a couple movies that I would argue also could be dad movies.
Yes.
At
they
least
could.
one of them for sure.
One of them for sure. I will save that one for the end because we have more conversation on that. But I finally got a chance to see one of the most anticipated movies that's been on our list for 2 years now. Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson, Bong Joon-ho, Steven Yeun. It's got a great cast. Came out on streaming. It's on HBO Max now. I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters because it was delayed, and then because I didn't get to make it. So I enjoyed it. I think that it is one that you should watch twice because there's a lot going on and there's a lot of meaning in there. This is the follow-up for Bong Joon-ho following Parasite. Do not compare it to that. Don't go in being like, oh, how is it?
No, very
it's
different.
totally different. Yeah, totally different. It's not fair to do that. It's not as good as Parasite. A few things could be, but I found it really it just captivated me. Robert Pattinson was incredibly just show-stopping. I mean, he was so engaging and entertaining to watch and listen to, especially. And it was a really interesting premise. There's a lot of depth there, and so I do recommend, again, watching it twice to make sure that you get it. Otherwise, you'll miss a ton. But I enjoyed it overall. Have either one of you seen it yet?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
I
see
did
it
get a
yet.
chance to see it, and I liked it. But yeah, you're right. It's way different from Parasite. Completely different vibe. It's
Right.
weird, but I thought it was funny. Is a weird word, but it's funny. You know what I mean?
It was. Yes, I do.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, it is a really interesting
Weird
premise.
Yep.
Yes, something totally different that I've never really seen before, and I liked it more the second time. So I don't know if you watched it twice, Josh, but I would recommend watching it again.
I believe that. I did not watch it a second time, so I will do that. I mean, I feel like you got from the trailer that it's about this guy just dies a lot. That's like literally his job is he's the 17th Mickey, and
Yeah,
part of how this world works is he is just like replicated. So that's a weird premise, but it's cool. So, all right,
Yeah.
I'll watch it again. It's on Max, so go check out Mickey 17 if you haven't done that yet.
yep. And the dad movie that I watched was Captain America: Brave New World. I mean, it is also finally out on streaming. It's on Disney Plus. Didn't get a chance. I had chances. I chose not to see this in theaters. Didn't feel like it was gonna connect with me very much, and I was right. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, but there's nothing inherently good with it. It is perfect background movie, I'd say. Like, you can put it on and just watch it and be like, you can not pay attention, and then something cool will sound, some kind of sound will sound cool, and then you can look up and be like, oh, hey, that's cool, and then you can go away for another 20 minutes and hear something again and come back and watch it, and you will do good. It's I think there was an interesting story there with the way that they treated with Sam and the original Captain America that they bring into this. I think that dynamic and everything that Sam is going through with his first time being Captain America, I think there was something there. The story we got was boring, generic Marvel. So, again, perfectly entertaining-ish. I gave it 2.5. It's fine. I don't have a ringing endorsement for it, but it wasn't bad.
All right. I haven't gotten to it yet still, so it's going to have to move up on my list so I can actually join in this discussion.
Yeah.
But all right.
What do you think of my critique, David? I know you've seen it, and you and I disagree quite often on Marvel stuff.
I've seen it. I watched it earlier this year, and I think I gave it either a 3 and a 3.5, somewhere in that range. Because sitting in the theater, I did it did command a lot of more of my attention in that regard. But it was to me the part that was most underwhelming. I thought was the part that's the most advertised, which is the whole Red Hulk aspect. Not to say that Harrison Ford wasn't good. I thought Harrison Ford was really was fine in his role, but I did think that some of the other stuff that they had going on with Isaiah Bradley, the sort of forgotten Captain America, and the stuff that they had going on with all that, like that was more interesting stuff that just kind of felt like it had to get pushed aside for kind of a big third act, spectacle. That was more my complaint back then.
Here's the deal.
Anyway.
Marvel has fallen into their own trap, in my opinion, after seeing this movie of they don't know how to let a character breathe. Not every movie needs to be high action, high intense. This is a massive change, and not everyone saw Falcon and Winter Soldier. You have got to let the character of Sam breathe. You've got to let it open up. You've got to spend time with him, and you just don't. There's no character development. It's just Sam and I think generic, and that's unfortunate.
I think, unfortunately, Falcon and the Winter Soldier would have, in retrospect, looking back at all these things, as much as I enjoyed parts of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think that would have worked better as the premise for the film. It's a decent enough series with good ideas. It's kind of bogged down because that COVID happened right in the middle of them shooting that show. So, like, half of their plans for the show they had to like throw out the window because they had to take like a 6-month break in the middle of making it or whatever. But I think that it might have benefited from just like that being more like, they were kind of like pushed into putting all these series out for Disney Plus, and in retrospect, that's clearly didn't end up being the best idea. I think Marvel's headed to a point where they're going to have to. I think they were always. My assumption is they were always planning to like eventually get to a larger like reboot of the entire franchise, but the grand experiment of the shared cinematic universe may be coming to the edge of how long you can sustain something like that. It was a really interesting idea. It worked for a solid 10, 12 years. And now we're on the later half of it, and it worked longer than, and early on, the first 4 movies, you really go back and look, Iron Man's the only real success. Like Captain America and Thor did okay. They weren't like as big as Iron Man at the time. It wasn't until after Avengers, and really it wasn't even after Guardians of the Galaxy that like every movie started doing really well. So I don't know. We'll see how they manage these next few years. We know that they have a couple more Avengers movies planned out. Maybe they reset after that or something. I don't know.
We will see, and maybe I will watch it one day. I'm sure I will. It's got to be the only one I haven't seen. Yeah, I think so. Got to be. I don't know what else I haven't gotten to yet. All right, cool. Some news updates for the week. Let's get into the Christmas spirit early because Robert Eggers, fresh off of Nosferatu with, what's his name? Scary Bill Skarsgård. He's scary.
He is scary.
He just is. We've learned that he is going to be writing and directing a new adaptation of A Christmas Carol, the Charles Dickens classic. We don't know really anything at all. The news indicates that insiders say Willem Dafoe is being eyed for Ebenezer Scrooge. This makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, just based on Robert Eggers.
Exactly. So, we can only assume we're getting something gothic and dark and weird. But,
Yeah.
we talked a little off mic as we were preparing for this show, and we were like, why is this the only Christmas story people seem to want to tell or retell?
There have been at least 100 versions of A Christmas Carol.
Gotta be.
Looking on Letterboxd. There was a guy who last year did this really great TikTok series where he rated and ranked every A Christmas Carol adaptation that he could find, including like the Flintstones A Christmas Carol, Mr. Magoo's A Christmas Carol, things like that, like children's television series, television versions. He did a really thorough job. It's a decent little series because he talks about like the things that certain people include, things that don't get included, how accurate to the book some are, how some of them aren't accurate to the book, and it's fine. They end up being good movies anyway. But yeah, it's just another one. Like I don't know how much more you can really do with A Christmas Carol at this stage.
It's going to be the horror movie version. I mean, like that, and not
Yeah.
like horror, but like there's going to be drama. The scene that got cut from the Muppets Carol one that is not in there, that has Ebenezer with his woman and they break up. That's going to be in there. We're going to get more of this dark backstory to Ebenezer. It's going to feel like it's going to take place in where Nosferatu took place. Like, that's the thing. I fear like it's going to feel too much like the movies that he has been doing lately. And again, the Muppet one scares me. The Muppet one makes me laugh. Why we got to keep doing this one? That one is perfect. 5 stars, no questions. Put it on repeat, That's the one that we need. Give us something else.
Yeah. It feels like one where he probably wants to lean really hard into the ghost story part of it, which is something that I'm a fan of that. I mean, leaning into the ghost story aspect of it is a really is something that doesn't happen too often because people like the really Christmassy part, and the Tiny Tim is okay. So I mean, if he really wants to lean on the scare part of it, which we know he can deliver on scares, and creepiness, then okay. What do you think, Josh?
But see, you also got Scrooged in there. Scrooged is a lot scarier than it should be, and that leans into the scary. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
I feel I've already seen this movie, and it hasn't been written yet.
Yeah.
I've already seen it.
You can imagine it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Disappointing for me because I really love Robert Eggers' work, and this is just like, what he did with Nosferatu, I cannot imagine him doing with The Christmas Carol, where he really dives in and expands on the story. I guess that could happen, but I would be shocked. Nosferatu came from I don't remember how old that movie was, but it was a silent era film that didn't have a lot of depth to it. He was able to really dive in, and A Christmas Carol's pretty expanded on.
Well worn.
Well worn, and even the original Dickens version is like, who these characters are. You get a good idea of who all the ghosts are. Like, I don't know what there is to dig up deeper. So, I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye out on that story, see if we start to hear maybe what inspired him to even go for this project. I would be interested to know. And then last on our news updates for this week, we are getting a for sure geriatric sequel has been announced. But this one has included quite a lot of fanfare and excitement online I've seen, and that is Spaceballs 2 is coming back with a lot of the returning cast. Bill Pullman and Rick Moranis will be coming back as, I don't remember their characters' names, but Bill Pullman was like the Han Solo. I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Lone Star.
Moranis had the big Darth Vader
dark helmet.
Yes, dark helmet. So
yeah.
Mel Brooks, too, was returning. The trailer, if you call it that, is more of a teaser. You guys get to see that?
I did watch a little bit of that, yeah.
I'll describe it for you, Garrett, because it's really simple. They tease it as like a Star Wars opening crawl, and it literally just lists all the franchises you can think of that have had 75 billion films since the last Spaceballs movie came out, and why can't they have one more?
Yeah, they were like,
It was like
they were
700
when,
Jurassic Park, 700,
Yeah.
3 different Star Wars trilogies,
yeah,
all
they
these
were like
35 Marvel movies.
the thing it says to start to is like when we made Spaceballs, there were 3 Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
And, since then there have been 2 more Star Wars trilogies, a prequel to the sequel and a sequel to the prequel. And then they were like, and there's been 32 MCU movies. There's been 8 Jurassic Parks, like it's, and they were just like went on and on and on. And then they were like, and Oppenheimer.
But there's never been
Oh my
another
God.
Spaceballs until now. It ends, I think.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've never seen Spaceballs, so this
Oh,
is
we have
you
got
know, it's
to
one that
find- oh my
I've got to
goodness.
get on my list because I don't, when I was younger I was Back to the Future over Star Wars was my trilogy, and so Spaceballs never really entered my realm, and I just haven't ever caught up to it.
They might. Is there a Back to the Future moment in Spaceballs? I'm trying to remember because they don't just parody Star Wars. They parody like Alien, and they parody
Space movies, I'm sure, are type
just a whole bunch of sci-fi movies and other funnies and other things. I'm trying to remember all the different little bits, but yeah,
I'm intrigued to see
we
how they
gotta
do
watch
it and if they
Spaceballs.
take on all of those things they mentioned in the teaser.
Oh, for consideration in the future, we should do a Mel Brooks month. That would be fun.
That could be a good reason.
Spaceballs,
Bill
Aliens,
Pullman.
Animals.
Bill Pullman's character is Lone Star.
Yeah, Lone Star.
John Candy in the original
Barf.
played Barf, who was Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks voiced Yogurt. Yoda.
Yep.
Princess
Yeah,
Leia is
John
Princess
Candy.
Vespa.
Yeah, there's a handful of great. Yeah, Miss John Candy. Dom DeLuise was the voice of Pizza the Hut.
Oh, nice.
So
Love Dom.
interesting to see. Like they have so much to parody now. I mean, I this is one where I'm like, all right, let's see how it goes. At first, I was unsure because I think when we first heard about this a few maybe weeks or a couple months ago, all we heard was that like Josh Gad was involved somehow, and I don't know, that just feels wrong.
Yeah.
But seeing all this, I'm here to give it a chance.
I'm anticipating this not being very good.
Oh sure, wow, okay.
I love Mel Brooks. I don't really like Mel Brooks is gonna. I feel like a lot of Mel Brooks' best work came out when it did, and I feel like people trying to replicate it today are going to struggle. That's why I'm trepidatious about the Naked Gun thing. Seth MacFarlane's very funny, but like those Naked Gun movies were like a product of like a certain group of people, writers and team people that come together and making that stuff, and you can't just replicate it and expect it to be the same thing. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much. I assume Mel Brooks is going to be pretty involved, but I don't know. I did not like that. History of the World Part 2 was not as good as the actual film. So we'll, I don't know. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we will. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for the news and updates for the week. David, what's the box office update for this point in the summer? How are we doing?
Well, so it's a rare weekend where we have 2 live-action remakes as the number 1 and 2 film at the box office. How to Train Your Dragon debuts to 83.7 million on Father's Day weekend. That's the 4th highest open of the year.
That seems like a surprise hit to me.
Yeah, it's doing pretty well financially. I mean, people love the How to Train Your Dragon movies. I think that
True.
critically it's sort of in a more positive than negative state, but there are a lot of people who are just like, there are a lot of people who are our age, probably slightly younger, who are just coming out going like, this didn't need to be made. It's the exact same movie. So, take that for what you will. Lilo and Stitch is at number 2 with 15.5. A24 is The Materialist, starring Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal, is at number 3 with 12 million. Mission Impossible drops to number 4 with 10.3, and Ballerina is at number 5 with 9.4. So, all over the place in terms of, age ranges and styles there for people. Movies
Summer
coming out.
movie month, we got options now.
I know, and I've had a tough time getting to the movie theaters this year.
Tell me about it.
Movies coming out next weekend, opening wide next weekend, 28 Years Later. Bride Hard, starring Rebel Wilson. And then Elio, the newest Pixar film, which My son's actually getting kind of into based purely on McDonald's toys. It really goes to show that like classic forms of marketing, having a McDonald's Happy Meal tie-in goes a long way with sparking a kid's interest in seeing a movie. Because he's like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "That's Elio. Do you want to watch the trailer?" And he watched it, and he was like, "That looks fun."
Yeah,
That's all it takes sometimes.
I'm looking forward to Elio too. I think.
Yeah.
I haven't. They're not pushing it hard. I don't think.
No.
But from what I've seen, I'm intrigued. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see if I can take my nephew and niece to go see it. They seemed interested when we went to took them to Lilo and Stitch, and they were like, "What's that?" Seeing the Elio thing. So
I think it has the potential because, like you said, Pixar's not pushing, or Disney's not necessarily pushing that super hard. But I think it has the potential to be like a Lilo and Stitch type movie, the original for this generation, because Disney's not necessarily putting everything they have behind this. So it's going to find like a little cult audience who's like, I remember that movie. Did you see that movie? Yeah, that's great.
Right. Cool. All right. Well, plenty still to look forward to this summer. That's going to be it for us today. Be sure you subscribe to the show wherever you get podcasts or on YouTube. Just go to somanysequels.com. You can get all of our links and past episodes there. We will be back later in the week with our review of Friday the 13th. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. Go to our website. Hit the link, join our Discord community, talk about movies there. Love to have you in the server. I think there's servers.
Yeah, sure.
That's what they call them. Anyway,
Absolutely.
go there, check it out. We will see you guys very soon. Bye.